Honestly, at this point, does it even matter who you draft? Honestly, it looks like when you're getting guys like Kenneth Walker off the waiver wire to become pure league winners, that this is maybe the number one thing that we should be paying attention to. But before we get into the video, make sure you go down there, drop a like on the video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. And if you have any questions, feel free to go down there and drop them in that comment section. I'm going to try to answer as many of your questions as I possibly can. And I hope that you already took advantage of the Jacoby Myers over here going up against the Chicago Bears in a beautiful matchup. Of course, you can find that player prop and so many others on Underdog Fantasy. And when you sign up for Underdog Fantasy with promo code FLOCK, they will match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to $100. So it's essentially free to check out, and it's available in damn near every state. Plus, if you got a Battle Royale draft this week, you may or may not be seeing a 100x boosted pick'em very soon. But that should be all. Let's go ahead. Let's dive into this waiver wire video. Honestly, first guy, not going to be available in the majority of your leagues. I know that we usually make the rule he has to be available in at least half of your fantasy football leagues for us to consider him. I'm sorry, we're breaking the rule. Michael Carter, I just want to be on record. I know we have some people that watch us that play in 8-team leagues, some people that watch us that play in 10-team formats where their league mates don't know what they're doing. And I want to make sure that you know that Michael Carter is better than any other guy on this list. You know, I spent the entire season hyping up Breece Hall, the entire season telling you to go through and trade for Breece Hall, and I wanted to say you're welcome, but at this point, it looks like I need to say I'm sorry. I mean, now Michael Carter will be stepping into where he's pretty much the only other running back here outside of Ty Johnson to get used in this backfield. What you really like with Michael Carter is obviously this has been an effective running back in years past on a per touch basis, and he is a great passing down RB. In a full PPR format, he is going to catch passes out of the backfield. He ran 19 routes this past week compared to Ty Johnson only at 2. He played 43 snaps compared to Ty Johnson only at 10. And obviously, he's the guy getting the carries. We know that. Ty Johnson is just an okay pass catcher, but Michael Carter is better. He's the number one guy you want off the waiver wire, but it's only for extremely shallow formats where he will be. Like we said, he's already rostered in 66% of leagues. But now going over to our next guy, we are going to have Gus Edwards. I know Gus Edwards is going to be the face of everybody's waiver wire videos this week. And I want to, yes, pick him up, but be realistic with our expectations. Because if we are looking at Edwards, yeah, I mean, he comes through. He gives you 66 rushing yards, multiple rushing touchdowns as well. And if you could sign up for this every single week at your running back one spot, you would. In reality, I don't even know if Gus Edwards is a guaranteed top 24 running back, let alone a running back one here. Because while Gus Edwards 100% looks like he will be the lead running back for the Baltimore Ravens, and they will continue to play him more snaps as he is healthier, and as he looked pretty damn good this past week, it's not like he's seeing 70% of the snaps. It's not like he's seeing 60% of the snaps. Honestly, he's not even getting 50% of the snaps here in Baltimore. You had Gus Edwards with 23 snaps this past week. You had Justice Hill with 20. You had Kenyon Drake at 17. And what's very frustrating here with Gus Edwards is, you know, not only based on this one individual game, but also what we have had in years past, that while Gus Edwards can be an efficient running back running alongside Lamar Jackson, he is simply never going to catch the ball out of the backfield. So in a non-PPR format, yes, be very excited about Gus Edwards. 100%, you got to be very excited about Gus Edwards in a non-PPR league. However, in a full PPR league, we will still go through and look to pick him up. I think outside of maybe one other name on this list, he is probably the top priority. I would, in that full PPR format, maybe look to flip him right after you pick him up off the waiver wire with another receiver for that long-term RB upgrade. But now going over to another running back, Hook 'em horns. You know our guy that we were betting on in Carolina was Donta Foreman. And to be honest, I need to come out here and I need to apologize. And that I said, well, Donta Foreman is the guy that I think will be the long-term lead running back in Carolina. Don't start either against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. There's a 13.5 point spread on the game. The Bucs historically have a great rushing defense. I want nothing to do with either running back this week. Well, you have 118 rushing yards from Donta Foreman with 15 carries as well. I mean, hell, he goes out there as 2 receptions for 27 receiving yards. I mean, you don't usually have Donta Foreman catching the ball out of the backfield, whether that's his great stretch of games at the end of 2021 or his great final season at the University of Texas. But hell, they have nobody else to throw the ball to, so it looks like, I mean, especially when you have subpar quarterback play, that you are just naturally going to get some dump offs to whoever the running back is out of this backfield. Now, we need to be very realistic here with ourselves as well, because with Donta Foreman, he played 27 snaps. Chuba Hubbard played 23. Hubbard had 9 carries. Donta Foreman had 15. I mean, Chuba Hubbard's running routes out of the backfield. He had 3 targets compared to Donta Foreman at 2. So while 100%, I was very surprised that the Carolina Panthers effectively moved the ball down the field against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's hard to imagine that this is something that's guaranteed to keep up at least the top level rushing yards for Donta Foreman, when I personally am projecting this to be a bottom 3 offense in the NFL going forward. And if Donta Foreman and Chuba Hubbard split this backfield 50-50, I think it will still be difficult to start him. For the time being, looks like a low-end running back 2, high-end running back 3 that you can start during the bye weeks. And if they start to phase out Chuba Hubbard and get Donta Foreman even more involved, then at that point he could become a must-start player every week. Just very difficult when you're in such a bad offense here. But now let's go over to an actual good offense. Let's go look at Isaiah Pacheco. Isaiah Pacheco, I thought we wouldn't be able to include him in this video, but according to Yahoo, he is rostered at the time of this recording in exactly 50% of leagues, so we're able to sneak him on. With Pacheco, it was announced that he was going to be the starting running back coming into this week, and did it matter? Nope. I mean, you kind of had Isaiah Pacheco still being in that 3-man running back by committee alongside Jerick McKinnon and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Isaiah Pacheco was the guy that looked the best in this backfield, as it seems like he has every single week. He had 8 carries. He had 43 rushing yards. I want to make sure Isaiah Pacheco is on our roster, because if you were to have an injury to Clyde Edwards-Helaire, if you were to have an injury to Jerick McKinnon, and this goes from being a 3-man running back by committee to a 2-man split backfield in one of the league's best offense, at that point, Pacheco could be an every week starter. But at this point, just someone that you need to have on your roster. Now our next wide receiver, someone that made it on the list last week, Wandel Robinson. With Wandel, I mean, he goes out there, 8 targets, 6 receptions, 50 receiving yards. This is exactly what we wanted to see. I don't think we need to talk too much about the player himself, because hell, I wrote a 100-page Dynasty rookie draft guide coming into the season. We've talked about Wandel a ton. Phenomenal prospect coming out of Kentucky. Checked every single box you wanted to see other than size. And with Wandel, we did not want to start him this past week, but we are excited about the long-term upside. The reason we did not want to start him this past week is because the snaps that he was playing. He was a part-time player just getting his feet wet, where if we go over and look at this really nice graph that PFF has made, I mean, you have finally that spike in snaps from Wandel Robinson, as you were naturally coming to expect. You have Kadarius Toney still not playing. I mean, who knows if this is a hamstring injury or I pissed off the coach's injury? Who the hell knows what it is? Same thing with Kenny Golladay. I mean, I think we know that's I pissed off the coach's injury. That's not a hamstring. So it looks like Wandel is a very easy path to be the wide receiver 1 for this Giants offense. And he's starting to get the playing time. 8 targets this past week. Shepard on the IR. Go get Wandel Robinson. Now, this is the time. You know, we've had a ton of questions from people in the comment section, from people in the live streams going, Mason, should I pick up Jameson Williams? Mason, should I pick up DeSean Watson? Should I go get Odell Beckham Jr.? Odell, it's a little too early. However, Jameson Williams, let's go get him. Amon-Ra St. Brown with a concussion. DJ Chark on the IR. Josh Reynolds, DeAndre Swift dealing with nagging injuries. This Detroit Lions offense is desperate, and I repeat, desperate for playmakers. I mean, I can imagine at the beginning of the season when you're rolling with a healthy DJ Chark, a healthy Amon-Ra St. Brown, a healthy DeAndre Swift, a healthy Josh Reynolds, a healthy TJ Hawks. When everybody's healthy, sure, you look at Jameson Williams and you say, hey man, take your time. We're good. We are the number one offense in the NFL. You come back when you need to. They kind of need Jameson Williams back at this point. If you look at Jameson Williams' torn ACL, happened on January 10th. If we just look 9 months in advance from January 10th, should be about this time that he is coming back. Should be late October, early November that we get back Jameson. I think he probably misses another 1 to 2 weeks. I don't want to say he has the same ceiling as some of the other rookie wide receivers we really like coming into the year, such as Garrett Wilson. I do think that Jameson Williams profiles to be a wide receiver that's going to be a field stretching option for the Detroit Lions offense, where he is going to provide more value to the Lions given his speed and how defensive coordinators are going to have to adjust their game plan for him, with how safeties are going to have to make sure that they kind of go out there and bracket him on the. I think he definitely affects the Detroit Lions offense, and he makes the Lions offense a better team. From a fantasy football standpoint, this first week back, his second week back, whenever that may be, hopefully 2 to 3 weeks from now, you can't play him immediately, but he will be someone that's 100% on the radar, because at Alabama, the man had over 1,500 receiving yards. The man was playing in a very good offense as well, with John Mechie to compete for targets with. So it's not like he had no target competition at all. So I think you can go through and you can be very excited about picking up Jameson Williams. Now, we didn't want to draft him week 1. We wanted to just sit on our hands, let someone else waste the roster spot at the beginning of the season, swoop in and get him off the waiver wire right before his return. Same thing with DeSean Watson. DeSean Watson rostered in 16% of leagues. With DeSean Watson, 7 weeks down, 4 more to go. 7 weeks down, 4 more to go. We are much closer to DeSean Watson's return than you are from week 1. And if you're looking at DeSean Watson, I mean, I'm in the business of scoring fantasy football points. That's the number one thing that I'm looking at. And DeSean Watson, from the time he stepped onto an NFL football field in 2017, what has he done? He has scored fantasy football points. Literally the only player comparable from a floor and ceiling combination has been Patrick Mahomes, literally a top 5 quarterback each and every year, pretty much guaranteed. It's an elite offensive line in Cleveland. Jacoby Brissett has looked good at times in this situation. I think Watson crushes when he comes back. But now going over to our next player at quarterback. If you need someone to start this week, I know we have a lot of buys. Daniel Jones. With Daniel Jones, 100 rushing yards this week. The rushing touchdown to go along with it. What else could you ask for? You're getting 16 points just off his rushing. Just off his rushing, not to include the 200 passing yards and the passing touchdown. Wandel Robinson's going to continue to get better. Maybe, just maybe, you actually have Kadarius Toney as a wide receiver that's able to get on the football field. Now, the main reason I like Daniel Jones outside of the rushing upside, outside of the fantastic coaching staff here, is this week going up against the Seattle Seahawks. This week going up against one of the worst defenses in the NFL. I think you should be very excited about that. Now, our last pickup, we are going to start including that streaming quarterback option every week, as well as the streaming defense option every week, just because we are going through the buys. This is going to be our defense. I would look for the Tennessee Titans going up against the Houston Texans. I think this will be a spot where the Titans lead the majority of the game. The Texans are going to be playing that comeback mode. I mean, you have Davis Mills so far, 13 sacks, 5 interceptions. I just think that Davis Mills in general is, I know, everybody's favorite, underrated quarterback. He's not underrated. Stop saying that. I mean, I hate when people try to tell me that Davis Mills is the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Davis Mills is bad. I've said it for a long time. He's probably going to get replaced by either Bryce Young or CJ Stroud next year. And so I think Tennessee Titans, are only rostered in 41% of leagues, had that great matchup going up against Mills this week. But I think that's all I got for you. Of course, thank you so much for hanging out with us in this video. If you have not done so yet, go down there, drop a like in the video, subscribe to the channel if you play fantasy football. Leave a comment with any questions you may have. I'm going to try to get to as many of those as I possibly can. And of course, make sure you go take advantage of this Jacoby Myers player prop over there on Underdog Fantasy. When you sign up for Underdog with the link in the comment section, the link in the description, and use promo code FLOCK, they're going to match your first deposit dollar for dollar up to 100. Available in damn near every single state. And if you got into a battle royale draft this week, be prepared to see that 100x pick'em. Super excited about that. But thank you again. I appreciate you. Hope you have a great day and hope we get to see you in the live stream tonight.